What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Optimize You, the podcast where we help you transform your health, fitness, nutrition, mindset, identity, and create lasting change in your life. And we are back with another episode of Overcoming Myself. So this is that journey that I'm on and that we are all on, trying to constantly overcome ourselves because we're always our biggest roadblock, right? We're always our biggest roadblock. I figure that out every day a little bit more. It's like you get up and you got the same challenges that you're trying to get through, and we're constantly in that situation where you get that momentum going, which is huge. I think momentum's huge, but there's always going to be those days that you wake up and you're like, fuck, I don't know what it is. I just feel like shit, right? I don't feel like my normal self, right? And we got to be able to work through those days. And I think that's why discipline is huge, and not relying on motivation is huge, and also just focusing on things you can be consistent with. And that's what I've been doing, is I've realized that I've just been so super consistent for a long time now. And I'm starting to reap the benefits and the rewards of that. There's been plenty of times throughout the last year that it's just been that roller coaster ride that I talk about, where it's like, oh, up and down and up and down. And like during the course of that, there's been a lot of times where I've let my action follow that roller coaster, right? It's like, oh, when the motivation is high, or when I'm feeling good, when I'm in a great place, I got that action going, I'm doing it. But then there'll be weeks where it's like, no motivation, not feeling good, not feeling like myself. And my action would follow that curve as well. And that is a slippery slope to be in. So I've just focused so heavily on being able to consistently do the things that I'm doing day after day, week after week, month after month, and making sure that I am 9 to 10 out of 10 confident that I can do these things on a daily basis. I struggled so much in the past with trying to do 10, 20, 30 different habits and trying to build these habits at the same time, right? It's like, oh, I found this habit in a podcast. Oh, I'm going to try to do this. I found this in a book. Let's try to do that. Oh, let's try to do this one too. And I'm trying to apply and build habits, just tons and tons of them at the same time. And you might be able to do that for a few weeks, maybe a month, but eventually you burn out, you fall off, and you go back to where you were. You fall into those old patterns. And so the biggest thing that we can do is ask ourselves and meet ourselves where we're at. I think that's the biggest things that we can do, because that's where a lot of people with the quick fix mindset go. And you're looking at one of them. I was definitely there. I still struggle with instant gratification. It's a constant reminder in my life. I got to constantly remind myself on a daily basis that the actions that I'm doing today and the actions I'm being consistent with over this week and next week and this month and in the year are going to pay off in the future, right? I'm trying to develop the skills and the confidence in myself. And that's another point on being consistent, is that builds the confidence that we need. Because if we have belief in ourselves, we can achieve anything. But if we don't believe in ourselves, we don't have that self-confidence, we're never going to amount to the person that we want to. And I'm in this group called Arete Syndicate, which is Andy Frisella and Ed Milet. If you know who they are, they're big time people in the business space, the self-help space, the personal development space. Ed's especially, I love both of those guys, but Ed is a guy who I look up to heavily. And he talked about yesterday on our call, we got like 3 Zoom calls a month. He talked about like potential, right? Like kind of being able to amount to the potential that we want to amount to. And like that from where we are currently, our potential is only a certain amount. And he related it back to weightlifting. So for those of you, like if you max out on your bench, and you're like, okay, I can bench 200 pounds, right? Just as an example, then it's like, okay, now my potential is 225, right? But like before that, maybe my max was like 180, and it's like, all right, I'm going to try to shoot for 200. Like that's my potential. And so we have to get to that next step, that next pillar, that next phase, that next area of our life, become a different person to see that new potential. And so we should always just try to be consistent and build on these things. It kind of goes back as well to people in the gym that you see there, year after year, that look the exact same and they're doing the exact same things, right? If we don't challenge ourselves, get uncomfortable, build on those things. Going back to the gym, if I constantly just do 200 pounds on the bench press every day for 8 reps, 3 sets, like I'm going to be able to probably maintain what I have, right? But I'm also not going to ever grow. I'm not going to ever get anywhere I want to be. I might actually degress at a certain point because my body's going to adapt to those things that I'm doing. And so we constantly need to do, let's see, oh, can we do 205 this next week? Oh, can I do another rep? Can I do another set? And constantly build ourselves up. And we want to do this with our habits as well. We want to start where we can actually be consistent with them on a daily basis, right? And so it's like, okay, like what can I stick to when it comes to water, right? It's like, okay, I can get 50 ounces of water in. I know I can do that. I'm 9 to 10 out of 10 confident that I can do that on a daily basis this week, right? Maybe our end goal is 100 ounces a day. But right now I can stick to 50 and I'm going to build that up by 10 ounces a week as I feel more comfortable, right? We're building up those habits. We're being consistent. We're just meeting ourselves where we're at and we're doing what we can do, not what we think we need to do. Maybe on steps, same thing. Don't just go right up to 10,000. What can you be consistent with on a daily basis? Maybe the goal is 10,000 a day, but right now you're at 4,000 and that's what you can be consistent with. And then we build and build and build. This goes back to my life. I am at a point now where I read at least 30 minutes a day. I've done it the whole year so far. So I've done it almost half of 2023. I have done, so like, because it's almost the halfway point of 2023. We're getting close, right? I've done 30 minutes of reading every day. That builds and compounds, right? It's like these habits build and compound. I'm learning more. I can focus more because when I'm focusing on reading, it's training my focus. There's a lot of amazing benefits to that. I have a lot of awesome habits that I've built up. I've had a lot of things that I've overcome in my life. I've talked about a lot of them, like the addiction, right? I've struggled with tons of different types of addiction. Like it's something that I'm constantly working through. Like I have the all or nothing, the perfectionist, like all that stuff I'm constantly working through and trying to channel it to the right areas. Things like body image, binge eating, the scale, my relationship with food and exercise, a lot of different things like that I've overcome and I'm continually overcoming, right? Like some of those things I haven't fully resolved in my life, but I'm constantly getting better. I'm constantly reminding myself. And I think that the biggest thing there has been really defining what's important to me in life. That series of things, like the 3 to 5 things that I've talked about on a few of these podcasts and that Ryan Murphy brought to us, the North Star, in his podcast episode. Like that has been a game changer for me and really using that as a way to make my decisions and do the things that I want to do in life. Because I think that a lot of what gets us into a bad place is that we think that we want this thing, right? But our decisions aren't aligned with that. And so we need to clearly define what's really important so that we can clearly make decisions based on that list of things. And once we start doing that and we align that with consistency and we're consistent with the things we can do on a daily basis with those 1 to 3 daily habits that we can constantly do and build on. And once one becomes like, if I get up to 100 ounces of water and it's second nature, take that off the list. Let's bring in a new thing. Maybe now I'm going to focus on workouts, right? Let's start with 2 workouts a week. Maybe the end goal is 4. Let's start with 2 for 15 minutes. Let's build on it. Let's build on it slowly. That's how we can become the person that we need to become to achieve the goals. And we can get to that next level where we can increase our potential and become a little bit better. Because the end goal for me is to continually strive to be the best version of myself. And that's what I want to help others with as well through this podcast, through my coaching program, through, if you're in my group, all of these different things. Otherwise, if this was enjoyable, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share with a friend, like, subscribe, rate us. We appreciate all of it, and it helps us grow and continually help more people, which is the real goal of this podcast, to help you transform your life, your health, your body, your mindset, your identity, all of these things that it takes to really become the best version of ourselves, which is that ever eluding goal, right? You're always trying to get to that next level. And so let's all do it together. Thanks again for watching, listening. Appreciate you all. And I hope you have a good rest of your week.